it is. They know what it is. They know what it is. Ha! Yeah! It's all up in they motherfucking face. Yeah! It's right here, right there, baby. Oh, hey. Bitches try to knock, cause they not me. I'm hot, can't stop me. Y'all try to stop me. You don't get squashed, we out here. Montgomery is where we be. Bitches tryna knock, cause they not me. I'm hot, can't stop me. Y'all try to stop me. You don't get squashed, we out here. Montgomery is where we be. It's a fearful of being replaced from a rival. Put play them childish games like a 12-year-old at a carnival. Jealousy's a whole move and you got to be. Please don't cry about my business and I listen to attention. I told you once before that you don't want it with this devil. I sent one of my go-throughs to serve you like the rest of you. And I ain't never lied, I got it like that. Your first name was kiss a cake and beat you right get off the bat. I can personally pay your attention, he can shell intact. That's produced by us, the nigga paralyzed like went back. Tip up that nigga, keep your get your arm back. And I won't let have your ass down, all none of that. But if it's really fucking beat you, you can come see me. You can find me too deep on Montgomery. Watch me go from you to me. So eat you like lunch, because of me. Got it, got it, got it. Cause they not me. I'm hot, can't stop me. Y'all try to stop me. You'll get squashed, we out here. Montgomery is where we be. Bitches gonna knock, cause they not me. I'm hot, can't stop me. Y'all try to stop me. You'll get squashed, we out here. Montgomery is where we be. So if you keep it coming, motherfucking see me. Talking all that hot shit like please. See me, I keep quiet, just listening. I let you do the talking, that's what you gotta be. Nah, I ain't bullshitting, and these niggas think I'm cute. Yeah, nah, I ain't kidding, nigga, I'm so serious. So you don't wanna fucking test this, fuck your ass up and leave no motherfucking evidence. Bitch, you can't handle it. So I suggest you watch the motherfucking lip. Oh, just wait, all they do is talk shit. Start off and get that dick, talk a little chicken dip. Go home and get on my stage, you riding on my dick. Yeah, we know we got shit, and we know you got big, so we got my dick. Don't like what's bad, does shit. And in case you ain't know, I'm the bad daddy, fucking get the bad daddy, fucking get, yeah, I'm a bad. Try to knock, cause they not me. I'm hot, can't stop me. Y'all try to stop me. You'll get squashed, we out here. Montgomery is where we be. Bitches gonna knock, cause they not me. I'm hot, can't stop me. Y'all try to stop me. You'll get squashed, we out here. Montgomery is where we be. Ray, I might be feeling myself. I'm trying to think of like a haters will be bad for my health. Bad for my health, bad for my wealth. Cause they claiming they don't like us, but I see on their shelf.